Hey guys, it's Paul and Ray with the No Color Thick Skin podcast. Thank you so much for joining in with us here on episode 19. We are really excited to be talking about a kind of somber topic, but this is something that definitely needs to be discussed. And what better place than No Color Thick Skin podcast? So,
absolutely.
But first, we're gonna see how our weeks were and all that. Ray, how was your week?
It's been a pretty good week, Paul. Stayed very, very busy, very, very consistent with work and what we have going on. It looks as if we are on par to hit our. I know it's hard to say this, but our goals and the numbers that we like to hit to stay consistent with what it is that we do, and that's number one, serving families. That's the most important. So we always like to make sure that our hands are touching as many people as we can and giving them the foundation to, continue on and do the things that they need to do after a loved one passes away. So work has been pretty busy. It's been to a point where the last 3 weeks have really taken a lot out of all of us. So I'm glad to have a couple of days off to just kind of do a little bit of self-care, take care of myself, and spend some time with the fam. So I can't wait for that.
Great.
Really didn't get much working out in. I wish I could have, but just the time didn't make it happen, So I'm not going to beat myself up about all of that. But, other than that, man, everything else has been pretty good. The kids are doing well. They're still excelling in the extracurriculars, which I, absolutely love. So I'm just in a good place, man. Real good place.
Great.
Yeah. What about yourself, bud?
Man, things have been going really well for me. Just really busy. Seems like the last couple of weeks I've been trying to put up Christmas lights and Christmas decorations and all that stuff. Keep up with all that. We're still working on it.
Still a work in progress, huh? Do you feel like you're in the Christmas spirit? Like, are you in the holiday spirit?
No, I don't. But it's gonna be there eventually. I think it has something to do with the weather. There for a bit, I was like, okay, cool, we're getting there. Like, it's getting cold outside. Yeah. And today it's like 75
it
outside.
It's 75 degrees right now, man.
Yeah.
Like, why
I go swim in my pool today.
What is happening, man?
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. But, that's cool. Also, it's nice to get a break from, constantly cold and all that stuff. So, can't really complain that much. But, just trying to... At work, trying to finalize the winter specials that we're going to be doing. So that usually will last a good little bit. Winter in Texas.
So when you say winter specials, like what type of specials are we talking about?
So in the cafe we run a special every week of the day, every day of the week. Excuse me, and. It's just something that kind of keeps changing with the seasons, and or at least we'd like it to do that. So so it's a special where we discount the price on an item that is kind of just like a seasonal meal, I guess. Okay. And so we're going to be doing like chili, which is what I was working on today. We're going to be doing like stews and soups and things like that, and accompanying that with some kind of bread. And so today we did some chili with cornbread. So turned out pretty good. I burned the roof of my mouth really bad.
Oh, Lord.
It was so... Like the pain
a spicy from spice or from just
no,
the heated? Like
it was the temperature.
You just couldn't slow down the chili. Yeah. The aromas were just doing something to your body.
No, I couldn't get it out of my mouth fast enough. It was so...
No, I'm saying, so like you couldn't let the chili cool down. Like it was.
I had to try it.
You had to have it. You just
it smelled that good for sure.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I've never made chili with this type of meat. It's like a chili cut instead of ground beef. And so it's like, little cubes like that size. And once it cooks down, it's the fat renders and all that stuff. So it's very tender meat, super delicious and nice to, and then you get the cornbread ready to dip, and you are good to go.
Sop it all up with that cornbread, huh?
Yeah, very good. Anyway, so that's something that we're doing.
How's your mouth feel though? Like,
oh my gosh, I literally.
I'm sorry, man. I'm just trying to, what's that mouth feel like?
It feels
Pause.
like.
What? Pause.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go.
It really feels like I did lose a layer of skin up there. It immediately blistered, and I got a layer of skin coming out of my mouth, which is really gross. I'm sorry you had to hear that, but for real, that's the worst it's ever been for sure. That's like 1st-degree burns inside the mouth, and my tongue. I don't know how it's faring, to be honest.
Wow.
I don't know how I'm talking right now.
We're gonna do the best we can right now.
Exactly.
Hopefully you can understand what Paul said.
Yeah, it's really bad. But that's just things that you do. You got to deal with. You do stupid things in life.
Yeah, man. Slow it down, man. All right.
I tried.
Don't put the hot lava in your mouth so soon.
Yeah.
Next time.
That's the thing is like I was like everything else in life, every other food in life I have ever eaten, it's just like do that kind of thing, and it worked. It fixed. It's okay. And then, but it didn't work at all. It was like sitting on the roof of my mouth, and my tongue's like, nope, I don't want it. So it just burns into the roof of my mouth. Oh man! And I'm like, can I taste it? Nope. I gotta just spit it out. Nope, can't spit it out. No, I gotta swallow it.
It's like your superpowers were gone, man. Like how did your inhale, exhale, eating superpowers? They were gone.
The dad powers,
just gone, just gone.
All the dude things that you do, it's just like it makes you feel. That didn't work this time. Anyway,
man. I'm sorry.
So that's what I've been doing, burning my mouth at work. Yeah.
Well, everybody, please send good vibes to Paul's mouth. We want Paul's mouth to heal very, very soon. All right. We don't want you in pain, but
yeah. But I'll be okay. Thick skin, except on the roof of my mouth.
So very thin.
So, but anyways, but everything else is going well.
Awesome.
So speaking of things going well, I heard some things went pretty well for Mark Cuban here recently.
Yeah, for sure. So for those of you all who may or may not know, Mark Cuban, so he's the Dallas Mavericks owner of the basketball team, but he's known for Shark Tank as well. He's on the TV show, so a lot of you may know him from that. Entrepreneur. He's started a lot of businesses and made a lot of money during the .com wave in the late 90s, early 2000s, and invested his money, and then he purchased the Dallas Mavericks. So he's been known for the Mavericks owner since early 2000s. I forgot which year it was, but he came in and he was a young guy, and he changed a lot of things that happened in the NBA. He was very vocal, and a lot of the old guard, they didn't like that, but he was getting a lot of support from the fans and the younger people watching the games, and the other employees that he had and around the league. So he was getting the people's back. And here recently, he's tried over the past couple of years to bring gambling to Texas. He wanted to have a casino resort type of a thing here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he just kept getting denied. Like they just, I'm not sure what it is about our legislation here, our lawmakers who just really don't like gambling here and stuff.
Because our state isn't a trash state. That's probably right.
So it's like it's insane to where all these different laws are happening. I mean, just to piggyback off of one, you can't purchase liquor after 9 p.m. here. So when friends from Louisiana come and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go and get something," and I'm like, "No, surprise, surprise! No, the liquor stores are closed." And they're like, "What? I can go to Albertsons and at the store at 3 o'clock in the morning and buy whatever I want." No, it doesn't work this way. Yeah. So there are laws and rules here that are outdated that need to change, and the gambling ones are ones that Mark Cuban really wanted to change, because he wanted to have a casino here, because people here in Texas, they're having to travel to Oklahoma or go to Louisiana to be at a casino, and it's something that they want to be in. And so Mark Cuban like I said, over the years, been denied, and he has partnered with the family. I believe they're called the Aldo. I can't pronounce her name, but they own the Sands, Aldo Sons, whatever, multi-billion-dollar family who owns I believe the Sands Corporation, which is one of the biggest casino brands in Vegas and across the world. And he sold majority of his shares to that family. So now you have a family of billionaires who will have majority ownership in the Dallas Mavericks. And now it's like, hey, guess what, guys? We're here. We're about that action. And we want to bring a facility here to Dallas-Fort Worth. And since I'm the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, if we're not making this happen, I really have the capabilities of taking the Dallas Mavericks somewhere else. I can uproot this whole thing y'all got here, and I can run it either to Florida. I can even take it up to Vegas. I can take it wherever I want to because I own this team. So guess what? Either we're going to play the way I want to do it or we're going to move around. So we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And I'm like, you know what, Mark Cuban? You're a bad boy. You're a bad boy. So to go that far to say, hey, I'm going to put it all out on the table and it's here and I got this, multi-billion-dollar family backing me. What do y'all want to do? So I feel that the state will be making some changes. Yeah. And I feel that in some point in time soon, downtown Dallas will have a nice casino resort, whole just attractive thing to have there. And I think it's going to be epic.
Well, I think Oklahoma would have a huge problem with that.
Oh, 100%.
WinStar would love it.
100%, man. They'll suffer a little bit. Or, like you say, the people who own WinStar, hey, go to Frisco.
They're the ones
go
that
somewhere, go anywhere, go, you can go down to San Antonio or go wherever you want to go, go somewhere else and put something up. But I feel that the Sands Corporation, those people are going to try to get this market taken care of. And I think that some changes will happen. And the family, they don't care about basketball. So they told Mark Cuban, hey, you still run all basketball affiliated things. We don't give two nothings about basketball.
Wow.
We just want this money and this casino to happen.
That's crazy to think about.
Wow,
how close we are to having a casino in Texas.
It's crazy. Because over the years, it's like, why are people having to go all the way drive with these, Durant isn't, crazy, but 2 hours, up north, for some people down in South Dallas. Why have to drive, that far away when people can do it right here in their backyard?
Now we just need to sell something of importance to a family that has a giant marijuana farm and then stop pretending like marijuana is illegal anymore.
Absolutely insane, man. It's absolutely insane that people are still going to jail in 2023 over this green plant. And there are people in certain states just selling it, walking down the road.
How do you feel about cocaine?
Wow. Cocaine.
Oh, you weren't talking about cocaine.
No, country dance. Oh, boy. Man, I've never done it. It's not, I'm scared. I'm a scared cat. So,
it's the best party drug I've heard.
That's what I've heard,
If you want to party with drugs.
Yeah, they say if you want to be up all day and all night.
Careful, guys.
Get that booger sugar.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
careful, guys.
Hey, neither here nor there. Whatever you do in your time, do you, baby.
So, today's topic, I think, in a way, is very, if we're talking about having a choice to do something, this is interesting. We don't currently have the choice of drinking after midnight or, purchasing alcohol after midnight or 1 a.m. What is it?
It's liquor after 9.
Liquor after 9.
Beer and wine after midnight.
After midnight. Okay.
Yeah.
I should know that probably.
I mean, it's
I'm certified in that, but something like that. Yeah. And so when it comes to ending your life, your own life, either on your own or medically assisted or just assisted, I guess, having someone else do the deed for you or whatnot. I guess that's what we're going to be talking about today. Self-suicide or assisted medical suicide.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I don't really know too much about suicide, although I have had, dark thoughts before.
Right.
Personally, when it comes to suicide, I have never gone the distance to try, anything against try to take myself out.
Yeah.
But I do know many people that have had family members that have done this. And because of that, I've only seen, I guess I know what it feels like to feel like you're not wanted, or, that there's no point in, continuing or things like that. Why am I doing this? But a lot of times in my own life, it just seems like that was really short-sighted. And then I see people who have lost somebody in their family, whether it be a daughter. I've seen that. I've seen, brothers get, do their thing, or, even, acquaintances who I would call friends. I've experienced them in my own life, and they took their life, and I just see the aftermath of all the people that loved and cared and spent time, investing in this person and, loving this person. And so they're like very attached to them, and then they lose them. And so that's that's my very limited experience with suicide in general. I've never met anybody that I guess had an assisted medical suicide or something like that. But that's where I stand on the issues. I just see like there's a lot of negatives to it.
Right.
But as always, I'm willing to talk through it and all that. That's what this is for.
For sure. And, I can piggyback off of what you said, having those suicidal thoughts and those feelings of I haven't achieved what I want to achieve, or I am not feeling the love or the admiration or the want to live, or all of those things. Like, I think we if we are honest with ourselves, like a lot of us have had those feelings, and it's just that we were able to not make a temporary feeling make a permanent outcome that was very tough for our loved ones. So we didn't make that that step. We didn't go that far and make that step to carry out those that feeling to harm ourselves. And it's tough, it's tough some days. It really, really is. But when it comes to the suicide versus the medically suicide, where a physician will assist you, as we were looking, there are a few states or a few areas in the United States where one can do that. One can be terminally ill, and if they decide that, hey, I'm at stage this or that, and I'm weaker than weak, and it's just prolonged, and I'm tired of my family looking at me this way, and I don't want to feel this feeling. You can go to certain states and you can request to have a physician assist you with that. For me, I am of the one to say, if someone wants to do something to themselves or whatever that may be, if someone wants to drink 24 beers every night, if that's what you do, that's on you. If you are not hurting anyone or not putting any harm in anyone, you're not driving. If you're at home drinking 24 beers, I wouldn't want you to do that, but that's something that you want to do. I don't want to have any dealings with that. That's on you. If you want to do all kind of nose candy and pop pills or whatever it is that you want to do, that's on you. So if someone feels as if they want to medically hurt themselves, or I'm sorry, not medically hurt themselves, but if they're in a medical situation to where they need a physician to assist them with that, if that's something that they want to do and they have all the information, hey, I would hope that that person's family wouldn't try to, blockade them or, stop whatever it is that they want to do, because that's something that that person wants to do. And I'm sure that's pretty controversial for a lot of people. But if you're terminally ill, it's like that person is at their wit's end. They've tried everything that they could. They know that the outcome is going to happen, and it may just linger, and they just don't want that for themselves or for their family. And also, I feel the same way about if someone wants to take their life. I hope that people don't feel that way, but if that's something that that person wants to do, I would hope that they would not. But I see a lot of times when, let's say someone has, scaled a building, and this person has scaled this building and they're going to jump, and we send all the police, we send fire, we send everyone out to try to get this person to come down. We're shutting down highways. You have people all over. You're shutting down things to get this person to negotiate with this person to, not to jump off this building or not hurt themselves or not do whatever it is. And it's to a point to where it's like, well, I don't even know how to articulate it the best way, but it's just like, what is the reason what reasons do we have to step in to take this person out of that? Maybe someone may say they're going through a hard time and they're having a psychotic break or whatever that may be. But I have a hard time when just all of these resources are put into, hey, I know this person is self-sabotaging themselves. Where's the line of, okay, let's help versus the continued self-sabotage? You kind of see what I'm saying there a little bit?
Nope.
Okay, that's why I want to talk to you about it. That's why I said it. That's exactly why I said it.
So, I'm not understanding that last part. So you're saying self-sabotage or self-harm. Mm-hmm. This is basically like self-harm.
Yes.
Self-harm. Except the extreme of it.
Right.
So I don't think this is why it's weird to me, but I don't believe that it is okay to kill yourself. And the reason why is because it almost always affects other people in a very negative way.
Right.
And it's usually, I'm sure there's a lot of situations out there where, the person is just lonely, they don't have anybody, and they just want to end it. Okay. But I don't think that's usually the case. Usually there's a lot of people relying on this person, and they're like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I've heard that come out of people's mouths that I'm really close to. Mm-hmm. I'm done. I can't do it. Like, I don't want this anymore. I can't do it. And, they were able to survive and live some of the best years of their life after that, after thinking that or saying that out loud even, and I just think the people that they leave behind, whether they have a financial responsibility for or not, I think that they're the ones that suffer the most when people make the choice of ending their life early. Now, when they are like terminally or medically, whatever you call it, terminal, mm-hmm. medically terminal.
Oh, so terminally ill.
Terminally ill, that's the one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then, maybe that's an option, there. But I know that there are some people that really suffer at the hands of cancer. Mm-hmm. But then again, there are a lot of people that, I know that there's probably a lot of people that would consider medically assisted suicide when they're dealing with cancer. Mm-hmm. And if that was an option, they'd probably be like, yep, I'm done. Right. I can't handle this. Right. But given the circumstance now, and I guess it is legal in some states, mm-hmm. And I don't think it is in Texas.
No.
And if you didn't have that as an option and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the most I could ever handle. And then you go further than that, and then you survive it, and then you're past it. I mean, then you get to live another, 3, 6, 10, 20 years with the people that you love. And you had to get past that hurdle, the pain, the agony, the whatever it happened to be. I mean, I'm just talking like worst case, most critical case, cancer or whatnot. Sometimes that's absolutely terrible. I've seen people that
terrible
have had cancer that goes from here to there, and very recently I've experienced this. This isn't it has nothing to do with suicide, but it has everything to do with the reason why you do a medical suicide. And
you can see a big, strong 200, 50, 60 pound dude who's, been in a great health, and all of a sudden gets a form of cancer, and then you see him 5 months later, and he's 130 pounds, skin and bones, and frail, jaundice, discolored, regurgitating everywhere, can't hold his bowels, and just a shell of themselves. And it's for me, I wouldn't be able to live knowing that me, the man that I am, I have my children just looking at me as a shell of myself, and I know that I'm terminal, and it's like, well, I don't want that to carry on. And I know that we're talking about two different.
No, I get you.
Two parts.
But those are good reasons, though.
Yeah, but and on that end, it's like, man, I would not want to have my loved ones looking at me and knowing that, oh, we're going to go see dad today, or we're going to go see uncle today. And now they're feeling bad driving over just to see me, maybe blink my eyes, or, can't sip water. And I wouldn't want that to linger on, just personally for me is what I'm saying. With the medical portion. Right.
Yeah.
So that'll be tough.
I would say it's the same reason why you would say never say never. It's like you don't really know how you feel. Same way for me, right? I don't know how I would feel until I was in that situation. And I guess that's your point, is that, if you did get to that situation, wouldn't you want the option to do this if you didn't want to continue life or continue living in that way, and you knew it wasn't ever going to change? Maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that is probably the reason why a lot of these types of decisions are left up to the states as far as medical, suicide goes or whatnot. But as far as, just regular old suicide, there, in my view, obviously there's suicide that is like, if you're shooting a gun in your house, hopefully there's an emergency, right? Because there's usually people around, and if you shoot a gun into your head to commit suicide, that's shooting a bullet into, a thing that's going to explode and, make a huge mess, and who knows what the projectile will do once it exits you,
Yeah.
So, or, there's, like you said, jumping off of a building, that's terrible. So it's just like, it's mitigating the problem. I don't know. It's a very similar line of thought in my view. I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, but in my view, it's very similar to like abortion in that way. In that it's like, yes, I know. I am always like riding that line of, more choice is better. More choice is better. But the reason why is because, with a pregnancy, it's inside somebody's body. And when you're governing inside of somebody's body, that's weird. But it's always been that weird, right? It's always been that way. Yeah. Same thing with, it's a little bit different when it is only just you, I think. That's where I'm a little bit more open to it. And I am against abortion, but we can get into that in a different episode. But when it comes to suicide, it really is just you. And that is something that I could, probably understand better as like, yeah, you could go do this. But it's just like, just imagine, okay, so you think of yourself, you're like, man, this isn't going my way, all the way up to I'm terminally ill.
Okay.
There's a huge difference between these two people's situations. And just imagine like that option is going to be for you and your kids.
100%.
And for their kids.
100%.
And for your parents. And anybody that you care about, that's going to be up to them.
100%.
And that to me is like, as weird as it is to say, no, it's illegal for you to kill yourself. You're going to go to jail. What? Or you're going to go, get made to go to
institution.
Institution.
Yeah. You're going to go.
That's weird. But also, I know how many lives that's saved. So I don't know. It's a weird thing to think through.
Right. That's why I wanted to have the conversation with it, because it's a topic that is something that's a bit controversial, and a lot of people will go to the text. They'll go to the Bible or their spiritual readings or whatever that may be. And a lot of people will see that is something that says in the text that you should not do. And I've had people who I know who were Christians, and families who were devout Christians and went to church all the time, very vocal in the community about their faith, have someone, a child, pass away, take their life. And the thing that they said to me was, yes, XYZ took his life, but at that stage, they said that we feel that, he still is going to heaven. And I was like, well, if I'm hearing you correctly, this person took their life, which is what we will say is a sin in this reading, in this text, and you all state that homosexuality, cheating, this, that, those are sins. And so that's one that is a sin. But you're saying that your brother is going to heaven, not hell. Yes, I believe that. And I was like, okay, well, why do you believe that? And they were like, well, he was not himself when that was happening. He was having a psychotic moment, and we do not feel that this was, I'm just going to say a name. This wasn't Johnny. Johnny was taken over by whoever or whatever that made Johnny do XYZ, so Johnny will go to heaven because Johnny didn't take his life. It wasn't Johnny. And I thought about that for a minute, and I was like, okay, so I can see what you're saying here, because that was uncharacteristic, quote unquote, of, this person. They were very alive. They were bubbly, amazing, great, blah, 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 had all these characteristics, great family, came from an affluent family, and all these things. So that kind of stopped me in my tracks to kind of think about, okay, well, maybe this person was not in their right frame of mind. This happened. Unfortunately, it was the ultimate of what happened, and they didn't just hurt themselves. They fully passed away from what happened, but that was not them. So that kind of was something that I was able to look at a little differently with that situation.
We should talk about, side note here, we're going to have to table this for this episode, but we should definitely talk about what we mean by like what we believe in that sort of thing. We should, like with Christianity and stuff like that, because I don't believe that at all, personally. And I do believe that I'm a Christian.
I love it. No, you don't believe what part of it?
Like that you don't go to heaven if you commit suicide. I don't believe that.
I don't either.
But also when it comes to that, I think that there is nothing. Just to set the record straight on what I believe personally, maybe you're the same, is that I believe that once you've been saved, like that is it. So, like once you've been forgiven for your sins, you ask for forgiveness and you receive. You ask, God, please forgive me for my sins. I want to live a new life with you. There's no special wording other than, yes, God, I receive your forgiveness, right? And then you're just forgiven. That's it.
Yeah.
And then God will start doing His work in your heart.
Right.
God, come live in my heart.
So you do that. You do that in January 2015.
Yeah.
And then January 2017, you steal a car from FedEx or whatever.
Yep.
You get in a high speed chase and you run an elderly lady over, and then you jump out and it's a shootout and you pass away.
Yep.
From what you did in 2015 when you were forgiven, but then you just did all this wild stuff in 2017, you still feel that from what I gave in 2015, I'm still going to heaven.
As bizarre as that sounds, yes.
And I know those extreme. I know that's very extreme, and I like to do the extremes. But what you're saying is that, hey, once you are forgiven, forgiven, and you are on this path and on this journey, that even though you backslide, you fall down, you have these hiccups, it doesn't matter. Once you did this portion, you're good. Yeah, that's what you felt.
I think saying, right? Jesus, just like in the Bible, it says that Jesus came to save the thieves and the sinners and the murderers and the the prostitutes.
He fellowshiped with everybody. Jesus was real. He used to hang with everybody.
Yep, and they were the ones that they were the most extreme, right? And there were thieves and murderers and people that got crucified right along with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, from the religious aspect or religious, what does religion say about this or that sort of thing? I think different denominations believe different things. I think the Catholic Church is really strong about suicide is really bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's
it's tough.
The whatever denomination I consider myself Baptist, but I literally just read the Bible, and there are some things that are left up to interpretation, sure, but I just read the Bible, and I believe that's what it says.
Right.
What it says is what it is.
Right.
And that's how I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Anyway, that being said, I do believe that suicide is ending the mission that God gave us, which is to love thy neighbor and to bring His light and love into the world and bring heaven to earth,
Mm-hmm.
because, I know this is how weird do we get. We're getting deep into this.
We're gonna get weird, baby.
So, but
that's what we do.
From a Christian standpoint, from what I believe, is that God gave us a divine purpose to reach people that couldn't be reached before with His message, which is that He is the Messiah and that He died for us, the Messiah, the King, the most powerful being on the planet that lived a sinless life, died for us on a cross, which is crazy, so that we would be forgiven for our sins that separated us from a perfect God. As weird as that sounds, just look up all the religions that are old, that are Abrahamic or whatever you want to say, and they all required a sacrifice to be to connect with or to show worship to a God. Well, the God, in my opinion, the God only wants us. He only wants to love us, and by sending His Son, which He did on purpose, to die on the cross, which He did on purpose for our sins, I believe that is our purpose, is to tell other people that, hey, you've been forgiven. You can be with God. You can have everlasting life. You can, there is something beyond this, which definitely goes right back into where we're at. Because I believe that when I die, I'm going to heaven. And maybe you do too, maybe you don't. But if you do, or if you don't believe that you're going to go to heaven, check this out. All you got to do is say, God, I'm a sinner. I acknowledge that I sin, and I want to receive your forgiveness, and I want to have everlasting life with you. That's all you got to do. That's it. That being said, if you commit suicide, I believe that it cuts your opportunity to directly impact somebody else, like a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I could just only imagine, like, the people, you don't always know the people that you touch. And even if you just totally gut what I just said and take out the God part of it and just say, I had an opportunity to impact somebody else's life permanently just by showing them an act of kindness or saying something nice to them or interacting with them or at all, you know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that was you that was supposed to be that person that connected with them, but you cut your, you know, your mission short.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real shame,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to people that are close to you.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I
people-
think.
Yeah, and people who are hurting, and just that small act of, just like you said, that random act of kindness, or that whatever it is that you possibly could have given that person who's struggling as well, and it could have done something positive for the both of you all, for sure. So
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I get that, and I'm glad you kind of broke that down to where,
That was
hey,
long,
this
sorry.
is no. I'm glad you broke that down to where it's like, hey, like, this is what I feel like, because a lot of people do feel like, hey, if I confess and I do all these things, and now I'm forgiven, and I need to confess and forgive, every time I do something bad, every time I
used to be that too.
do this, or every time I mess up, I got to do this because I got to repurpose myself, and now I got to offer. Okay, and it's like a back and forth, but it's like you're saying, once you feel it in your heart and once you know it, you're forgiven and you're done. So I'm glad you said that. Like I said, just to piggyback off of the same thing as what that family said. So I can see the both sides of it, and I'm more leaning towards your side of how that could be. So yeah, with I think we're kind of on the same when it comes to the medically assisted portion of it. I don't know if it'll take off more than what it is right now, because I just feel that we here in the West, we just don't really see that as an option as those in other countries. And as you said, it's not everywhere. It's just a select portion in some states that will allow that to happen. And I think we do differ with the, hey, this person has come to their wits end and they're wanting to do something to themselves. Because I guess I'll ask of you, if we are in, that moment and that person is wanting to do that, like, where do you draw the line of, hey, we're going to do everything that we can to mitigate this person from harming themselves? Let's say somebody has a firearm and they're wanting to hurt themselves. They're in their house. Do you send people in? Are we putting officers in danger? Are we putting other people in danger? What is the line, I guess, to where it's like, okay, we want to make sure that, our personnel here, the people who are here helping, that they're safe and that people aren't going to be hurt with this person who's wanting to hurt themselves, So it's like, how do we look at that, the juxtaposition of that scenario?
Yeah. The weird part is when, you send in officers to go take somebody to a facility, what do you call it?
Like the
mental health.
The mental institution. Yeah.
And, I mean, the thing is, if somebody's willing to take their own life, it's difficult to say what kind of judgment, what state of mind they're in. Mm-hmm. Usually it's pretty poor, right? And I think that kind of just goes for everybody, like, you're not in a very good state of mind if you want to kill yourself.
For sure.
And what else are you willing to do? I mean, the law doesn't know.
Right.
They just know that you're about to take your own life. And unfortunately, there's an awful lot of people that take other people with them when they take their life. So it's just dangerous all around. Mm-hmm. maybe that's a good case for medically assisted suicide. I don't know, but what I do know is that I would be opposed to it if it leaves people behind, like kids behind, a spouse and kids behind, it's a bit, it's kind of like, but it's kind of like divorce, Well, but if you want to end your life while you have debts, I don't know if that works. Does that work?
With debts, you say?
Yeah, like I owe for a car and a house and a this and a that, and I'm I'm in debt up to my eyeballs, and then I'm like, hey, I want to go get medically, assisted suicided.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
It's like, wait a minute, right. That's kind of like the ultimate bankruptcy.
Well, I was gonna say you're trying to was it chapter 13? Is you want to do chapter 99 bankruptcy? No, you can't do chapter 99, partner. That's not how this works. So that would be different, and your estate would have to settle up a lot of those debts that you leave behind for sure.
See, that's where I think we run into a problem though, because people aren't going to want to do that. They're just going to want to do it. Huh?
Yeah, for sure. Like they're not going to want to, but you do it, and credit card company A is going to say, "Hey, we know that this person had a home and had this, and you're leaving things to your dependents. But hey, guess what? We're going to get paid first, and then whatever is left over can go to your dependents. But we're going to fight you to take care of our debts that we have that you created. So we're gonna take from your family. So yeah, that sucks for sure. Golly. Absolutely. Unless you start doing stuff like S corps and putting things in the trust, and then you got this stuff. Like there's some ways to get around stuff. We're not doing all that today. But my thing was, when it comes to the taking of your life, and I reference like a self-sabotage type of a thing. You just referenced divorce. So it's like when you have children, and let's say you're watching your child self-sabotage, and I don't wish this on anyone, but if let's say your child gets addicted to a drug or whatever it is, and they're just struggling. They're struggling. It happens
really often.
Absolutely, and we see it. Especially with meth. Let's say your child is struggling with meth, and you're like, hey, this is my child. I love my child, and I'm going to do everything I can to help my child get off of this, and we're going to fight this. And I'm holding your hand side by side. We're going to go through this. All right, so let's go to rehab, and you spend 80, 90, 100, whatever. You spend all you've got a second mortgage on the house. Sold the cars. You drive.
So then you have them killed. All right, you're going back. You're going back.
So they're clean. No. Let's say we get the kid clean, right? And so we're moving and we're grooving, and 2 years down the line, kid starts falling back in the old ways. Next thing you know, addicted again. Okay, are we going down this path again? Or are we going to do everything in our power to save our child again when they have forcibly put themselves back into this position? So, okay, you're going to do it a second time? Some people may. All right, so we're going to do it again. Now you had to sell the house. You sold everything. And 4 years later, they jump right back in. So where's the line to where it's like, okay, you're self-sabotaging. Let's say, your husband and wife, your wife is, she's working like crazy. You're working like crazy. Y'all don't even see each other anymore. Y'all trying to pay off the debts that y'all acquired from trying to help your child as they're continuing to self-sabotage themselves. It's like, what's the line? Where's the line of, hey, I love you. I'm gonna give you this one, and I'm speaking just for me. If I'm gonna give you this one. I'm hand in hand. All right, we'll go through this rehab. We'll do everything we can. I'm there. All right, we got you clean. I can't have you regress. I can't have you do that again. We got to stop this. So It's like, I guess I'm trying to figure out, in both scenarios, in both, the suicide and with the self-sabotaging, like, where do you have to draw the line with some of these things to where you're not putting yourself in a situation to where you can't bear what's happening, So it's like, that's tough. And I get it. It's tough, man.
That's kind of like setting ground rules though. Like, and it really, that's everybody's freedom,
right?
Like, it's up to you as a parent to tell your kid, okay, here's a line, and don't cross it. Mm-hmm. And if you do, you're an adult. okay. Or if you're not an adult, then yeah, you still live under my house. We're gonna lock you down.
Yeah,
you know?
my house, my rules up there.
And
yeah.
and I get that. I know a lot of people that have been saved as a person, literally as a person, like, if it weren't for their parents, like locking them in their bedroom, literally,
Yeah.
they would be dead.
Yeah.
And I know, for dudes, it's really not. It's kind of funny to talk about now, but it's like. I know some people that, really had to, a dad that had to go tackle his son, a few times and go, hey, you want to fight me? You want to think, you think you know better than I do?
Gotta put them hands on.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
The testosterone kicking in. Yeah.
And sometimes that's needed. It really just is.
Big time.
And I wish more parents figured out how to say the 2-letter word more often. No.
It. Oh.
It.
You're right.
Us. No. Me. No. You got to say no. You got to figure out how to say no and stick to it, But, I'd say in a nutshell, that's all I really wanted to say. But maybe you can take us out here, Ray.
Yeah. No, man. Like, I know that this is a controversial topic, and I know that it can probably make some of you all uncomfortable. And as we've always said, that's the basis of what we do here. We love to interact and talk about the great things and the positive things in life, and champion each other and champion you all as well. But there are a lot of topics out there that need to be discussed, and they're uncomfortable ones. And this is one that we didn't pre-discuss. This is one of those ones that we just want to jump in and just talk and just be as vulnerable and open as candid with you all as well. And if you all feel a certain type of way about just watching someone self-sabotage or watching someone on the other end in a medical state, so where they're ill and they want to take their life at that time, what are you all's thoughts on that? What do you feel if a parent was going through that? Would you be okay with your parent discussing that with you and moving to Vermont and doing that process? Or if your child was in a tough situation and they did that, how would you feel? But as always, that's just all we want to do, just have tough conversations. But this is the No Color Thick Skin podcast. We really, really appreciate you all just continuing to join us on this journey as we try to just figure out life and just open up conversations with everyone. We are on all listening platforms, on your Spotify's. We're on YouTube, Facebook, iHeart. Please give us a like, share us with anybody. Apple, all of them, ALL of M, all of them. So we're here for your listening and viewing pleasure as well. So, but thank y'all for joining us. We will be back with another episode soon. Take care, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Bye, y'all.